Okay. This is it. I'm gonna pick one out of here. I'm gonna mix them up. Okay, I have one. It's Matt Smith. Oh, it's Series 7. It's Series 7, Part 1. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to be watching Asylum of the Daleks. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I think it's working. So, this is a new thing we're going to start, I guess. What are we calling it? We're calling it Doctor Who Revisited. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, our first entry is Asylum of the Daleks, Series 7, Episode 1.
Yay.
So, my cousin here, he's going to be doing this with me. So, what'd you think about it?
It's a confusing episode. It has some high points, but it also has its low points.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Well, I thought it was pretty good. I have a few issues with it, but none of them are really that central to the plot of the episode. Other than maybe like a couple things. So, first of all, the whole concept with Amy and Rory, like getting divorced and all that. I really don't. I mean, it makes for a good moment at the end of the episode. But it just seemed weird to me that they opened the series with that, you know? And then within the same episode, it's all resolved and done with, and it's never talked about again. It just seems really odd to me. But again, it made for a good moment in the end. So
after this episode, I was never able to look at them the same.
Really?
They never seemed like they actually loved each other. It seemed like it was just a plot point.
So yeah, there's that part which I'm not. I still don't know exactly where I stand on it, but in the end, it kind of made up for the strangeness of it by having that nice moment at the end where they get to reconcile and stuff. But then another thing is the whole idea that the Daleks have a parliament and they have a prime minister and all that. I don't know how believable that is. Like we've never seen that before. I don't think it's in the classic stuff, and I haven't seen much of that. But who knows? It just seemed really odd. Like they've had an emperor before, and now they have that. It's like they have a whole parliament with the prime minister and all that stuff. It just doesn't seem like what they would, the kind of thing they would do. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's very Dalek-y. It's not very space alien-like.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, there should be an emperor who just rules over all the Daleks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we get into the plot of the episode, which I kind of like the idea of the Daleks like needing the Doctor's help to go down to this asylum place. I've heard people mention that this story would have worked better as a Cybermen story instead of the Daleks, which, when you think about it, that really would make a lot more sense. Because the Daleks don't seem like a race that would have any of them, go crazy or whatever. The Cybermen, that you can see that happening because they're human. And then when you think about the twist, which we'll get back to later, but with Oswin, that's another problem I kind of have. Like, if you're now suggesting that Daleks can convert humans into their own kind, like that takes away from the Cybermen. Like that's their coolest aspect, Which is it's just weird to me that they thought that they'd do that again with the Daleks, and it's never been suggested before that they could do that. I just thought that was a little weird.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah. But I
And
do.
that
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Cybermen should be chosen over Daleks. Like Asylum of the Cybermen sounds so much better. It
Yeah.
just so much better for that season.
When I picture that in my mind, I don't know why, but I picture with the Mondasian Cyberman design from the end of Series 10. Which I just feel like if they would have brought the design back, and had it there, it would have been so creepy, and it would have been an amazing episode. I mean, I like the character of Oswin, which I don't want to say I like her more than the Clara we end up getting in the end. Probably more than the Series 7 Clara. Clara in Series 7 never works for me. Later on, I like her a lot, but Series 7, it doesn't work. And I think both of the other two versions that we get are better than what we end up getting in the end. So, there's that. But then this does... The thing is that like they don't revisit this mystery, like, because I didn't watch this as it aired in 2012 or anything. Neither did you. We watched this like on Amazon Prime years later. But I feel like that would have thrown a lot of people off, knowing that, because they knew Jenna Coleman was going to come back and like she would end up being like a major prominent part in the show later on. But no one expected her to be in that first episode. So then it just leaves this huge question mark that gets not touched on at all until the special. And not even till the end of the special. They don't even mention that it's the same person. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I also knew that Clara, whatever, would be a companion, because I saw promotional photos and stuff. Like, I knew she would end up being there. So what did you think about the story overall?
I would label this episode with Arachnids in the UK from series like 11, where it's I don't think it's a good story. It's not good at all, but it's executed very well. It's
Really?
they do it really nicely. Yeah.
Well, I like the idea. I mean, I'm a little iffy on the Daleks having an asylum in general, but the idea of them asking the Doctor for help to go do this thing, it makes sense because, they know who he is and they know, and stuff. So that would be like a logical person for them to turn to, especially when they're that powerful with that many Daleks there. It would make sense that they would take him and have him do it. And then I like the idea that they know that when they solve this problem, they're just gonna blow up the planet. So like they're stuck either way, and then having to figure that out and stuff. And then there's the whole thing with the fact that the Daleks are supposed to have completely forgotten the Doctor by the end of the episode. And I really do like that idea because, like, the Doctor started to become too big in the Matt Smith era, like too popular, like across the universe and stuff. Like, so I like the idea of the Daleks having a fresh slate with him and not like knowing all the history. The problem is they don't stick with that at all. Like the next story, it's completely retconned the whole idea of them forgetting him and stuff, which is kind of disappointing. But I could see why they needed to do that. There were reasons within the plots of those other episodes where it kind of was important to that the Daleks knew who the Doctor was, but still I kind of wish they would have kept that going for a while, but whatever.
I would agree with that. I think it was kind of a good idea to erase the Daleks' memories of the Doctor, and they could have done some like fun stuff with it in the future, but then they just right away next time you see them, they're like all familiar with him again, and that just ruins it for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, what did you think about how the Daleks were depicted just as, opposition to the Doctor in the episode?
I don't know. I'm processing that still. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think as far as Dalek stories go, it's probably kind of middle tier, just because of the like I said, I like the storyline of the Daleks going to the Doctor for help. But like all that stuff, like I said, those little things that like the Daleks having a parliament and having an asylum and all that stuff, that's ends up being like it's really essential to the plot and all that, because that's the part of the episode that he's going down to an asylum. So that's why it ends up like not being like up there with some of the best Dalek stories. But as far as the Daleks, I mean, they're just kind of. It's not like they don't, their appearances, they don't change as far as their menace goes as much, like as say like the Cybermen, like their whole, like you see them in Rise of Cybermen Age of Steel from series 2, and they're very different than like years like in Nightmare and Silver in the later at the end of the series. At the end of this series they become like super like powerful, like with superpowers, which that's one of my biggest criticisms with Nightmare and Silver, and I don't dislike Nightmare and Silver at all. I don't understand why people don't like it. That always confuses me. But the fact that they become really powerful, and the Daleks they don't mess with them that much, which I kind of like. But like they did kind of mess with the way that they do things by taking away the memories of the Doctor, but they don't stick with that, so it doesn't really change anyway.
Unlike you, I would wish that they did improve upon the Daleks. Like they would realize that when they try to take over like a planet or something, that it's not working, so they give themselves upgrades.
Okay, so overall thoughts. What do you think?
It's an average Doctor Who episode.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
a little bit, but
I would say, like I said, I like the central concept a lot. So for me, it's above average. I can say that. It's definitely one of the best episodes of Series 7. Definitely my top 5 for Series 7.
That's not saying anything.
It's with Name of the Doctor, Angels Take Manhattan, and then, yeah, that's probably it at third, maybe. Because, I mean, Nightmare and Silver, it's probably really close with Nightmare and Silver, too, for, like, third place in that, or whatever. Okay, so if you had to give a rating out of 10, what would you give this episode?
I'll give it a 6.5.
6.5. Wow, that is exactly what I was going to say. I was between 6.5 and 7. But
6.5.
I think I'm going to stick with 6.5 right now, because I don't know the things they did with the Daleks, saying that they have an asylum, the Daleks going crazy and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't seem like a thing that they would let happen. And they say that the Daleks have a concept of beauty now, and that their concept of beauty is hatred. Which, I don't understand why they had to put that in there. I like the idea of the Daleks just being emotionless killing machines, which they are, but then saying that they have that concept of beauty and stuff. So I guess they kind of are changing, after all, in this episode with that kind of stuff. So yeah, but the overall concept, like I said, I like. So 6.5 and 7. I don't know. Can I give it a 6.8? There.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. 6.8. Yeah. All right. So for now, as we go through these, we'll put all the ones that we review in a ranking. So far, this is at number 1, and also in last place. So
yeah,
at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty solid. It's got some things that kind of bug me, but overall, it's pretty good. I love Matt Smith's performance in this, and Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill. That scene when they're like talking and when the Doctor's like with Oswin. Oh, we never really got back to that whole Oswin twist either. Which, like I said, it would have worked better if it was a Cyberman, because it just would have been that more impactful. Because you wouldn't find yourself asking the question, how did they do that? How did they turn a human into a Dalek? which is, it doesn't make much sense to me. How you're suddenly giving the Daleks that power, which is something that was exclusive to Cybermen, which is what made them so cool. And now you're saying the Daleks had that power too, and then it's never touched on again after that or before that. So it's just kind of weird.
So is it just me who's like is 100% sure that Cybermen are much more threatening than Daleks? Can you agree with that?
I don't know if I could 100% agree with that, but I find the concept of Cybermen scarier than Daleks. Because, I mean, they're us changed, and now they're killing robot machine things.
They look scary too.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about like their design from Nightmare in Silver until like what was it? I guess Death in Heaven, Darkwater Death in Heaven would have been the last time they were used. I think that design where they kind of just look like Iron Man, that's not as threatening. But I think like the Mondasian Cyberman design that they brought back at the end of Series 10, that was the Cyberman at the most threatening. We said that we're going to do the ranking, but for now, it's first place. So there, that's an advantage of being the first episode we talk about. You get to be first place right out of the gates. All right, so we'll be back with more of these eventually.
Bye.
Yeah. So for now, goodbye.